All right, welcome to Smokey Reacts. I'm your boy Journalist, and on this one, we are back for another one from that boy Conscious Lee. This one was titled, He Says Kids Need to Call Him Dad, and I was just like, oh, what foolishness are we getting into today? So, I seen this, was like, all right, I'm gonna do this video. Thank you guys for joining me. If you could, please hit that like, subscribe, Patreon's in the description, and let's get into this.
Use not the pappy. Use not the...
I'm the pappy. I'm that baby father. That shit used to kill me. Well, I tell you about picture on the job, boy.
Pappy.
So this video is for us to really think very consciously and intentionally about how the rise of divorce in our society right now leads to a lot of these dudes saying what they saying when they talking about single mothers and being with children. You see what I'm saying?
When I get married to a woman with kids, if the kids keep calling me Tuck or my name, my first name, that's disrespectful.
How?
You not they daddy though. Like you not the dad.
Can I tell the her that them your kids?
Well, that's what you introduce yourself to them as. That's what they know you as.
No. It's on her to then change their pattern.
If y'all are married,
right?
What do you want them to call you?
Dad. You can't tell me to be a father to those kids and not be respected as one.
I
But you
agree
can-
with it. So like when
You
I got
cannot,
married,
because if you believe that, I can
No,
say
you can
them
still
your
be
kid. So when we have kids of our own, I
You
can
still
treat
be
them differently,
respected.
right?
No, you can still be respected as a father figure.
Tuck is tripping. And this is what happens when you get overgrown men trying to go on power trips and get with single women to illustrate their power. You see what I'm saying? What if the CIA is dropping and boosting podcasts?
Okay, before we get too lost in the sauce, I just never understand men that date women that want this type of dynamic with the child afterwards. You should want that child to feel comfortable with you, and eventually, if they want to, in someday on their own volition, want to call you dad or speak to you in that type of fashion, that's what you should be working towards. But your role is to provide a good male role model or example in that household, love their mother to the fullest of your ability, and create a healthy dynamic and relationship with that child and amongst the new family you are creating. But you are to raise that child as if it is your own. But if you feel disrespected because the motherfucker call you Tuck, Charles, Winston, Alfred, Peanut Brittle, I don't give a fuck, and you're like, nah, but I feel respected if you call me daddy, you're a weirdo. You're a fucking weirdo. Your mind's not even in the right place of trying to raise a child. You're all on some like ego stroking like power dynamics thing. Like, oh, who's your daddy? Not you, bitch. You just the nigga fucking my mama right now. Like, if you don't chill out, like, oh, these niggas is weird with this shit. Like, oh, these are the niggas that people look at and be like, oh, he's the picture of masculinity. How? That nigga sound fragile as shit. If a child don't call me daddy, oh, I'm disrespected. What are you talking about? Shut up. Stop letting niggas on the fucking podcast with these dumbass ideas. This is just stupid as shit, because there's some niggas somewhere in the world sitting there like, yep, that's right. That's right. That boy better call me daddy. For what? You wouldn't be that boy's daddy for? How about you raise that person to be a good adult? Whatever they call you is secondary to that job. The job you were there for is to put dick in his mama and to raise them to be a good adult. That's it. You ain't got no other job. Just play your lane. Damn.
Mics and audio equipment like it did firearms in urban areas to break up the black community, to bring the black community down. See what I'm saying? Like that's kind of raw, right? What's sad about this video is this grown man cannot differentiate between a father figure and a father. Two different things. Can we acknowledge that being intimate with a child's mother does not mean that the father is inactive? Can we acknowledge that being intimate with a child's mother does not mean that you negate or erase that they have a biological father? Can we acknowledge that the title of stepfather and stepdad is one that is earned and typically not given? Can we acknowledge that? Is it me or...
No. Stepfather is a title that is given the moment I marry your motherfucking mama. We're not gonna play that game either. Nigga marry somebody, that's literally the term a nigga becomes instantly. Now, how you accept and carry that mantle is where the delineation between a stepfather or a father figure begins to really show up and becomes very apparent, because there's a lot of people who have stepfathers and stepdads who don't do fucking shit. But then there's those stepfathers and stepdads that show up and show out and do exceptional work, go above and beyond. You would have swore that nigga had that baby himself. Respect to them men. That it's a hard thing to do, but that's where you see the difference. But man gets that title just off of a marriage that is actually like codified through law. How you use that title and carry that mantle is the difference between what I would say a real nigga and a bitch ass nigga. Because a real nigga gonna just do what he gotta do. A bitch ass nigga gonna come in and try and start making all kind of rules and throwing his weight around because he's like, well, it's this now. Is it? How about you show me a stat instead of telling me a stat? Because I ain't gonna believe it unless you show a nigga. So you got to show me better than you can tell me. Like, shit. That's probably, I'm not even from St. Louis. Like, my folks are from St. Louis, and that's probably the most St. Louis thing about me. You gonna have to show me, brother. You're not gonna just tell me nothing. You better show me.
Was this guy giving you Kevin Samuel, Andrew Tate, red pill, blue pill, manosphere vibes? Because
no, my brother, because he's not as articulate as either one of those men. He just sounds like some nigga that I played football with in high school who's like, I get pushy. This is how I think the world should work. Bitches like me. I think I've got a strong moral and ethic code. So I'm out here espousing it on the podcast. So no. He doesn't even scratch the nigga surfaces.
Ain't no way in hell you trying to have this.
Man don't rock with either. Well, I didn't really had a problem with Kevin Samuels. I used to think that nigga was hilarious. But that's only because he gave it to the men how he gave it to the women. Like, so I don't really have a problem with Kevin. But I don't fuck with that nigga Andrew one bit. He's a dickhead. Weird, creepy cunt. Weirdo.
This much control over a child because you stick it to their mother.
Like my uncle, I called him Jay since I was a little baby. And my stepdad, I call him Tom because that's what my mom and him discussed.
That shit was
whenever we first
disrespectful.
met.
Just because
No,
you do it
that's-
don't mean it
he
won't
done
disrespect.
feel
Okay, so we teaching our kids to say yes ma'am and no ma'am to strangers, but we can't teach them to say,
No.
oh, that's dad right there to the that's taking
Now,
care of you.
your
Make that
preference.
make sense.
Now-
They can show more.
Just because you taking care of them don't make you nobody's motherfucking daddy. What are you talking about? You yes sir and yes ma'am and no ma'am and all that shit outside the house, because those are fucking strangers, and to show a modicum of respect to those people so you could get that back and start engagements on a good foot with a person, that's why you do the yes and the no's and the sirs and the ma'ams. That's why. We have a different dynamic. You are my father figure. You are the mother or the man that is supposed to be helping lead this family. Me calling you dad or daddy has no bearing on that at all. Fucking weirdo.
Respect for a stranger than the person that actually
Well,
feeding
wait a
them.
minute.
Don't give me the duties without the title.
Let me finish.
Don't give me the duties without the title.
Don't give me the duties without the title. I feel like he's heard that before, and now he's trying to weaponize it against going on a power trip with kids. That's not his child.
Also, he seems like the type of person that is, I'm the boss. Because it comes with power, and you can tell people what to do instead of being a leader. I don't give a fuck if I'm considered to be right. I don't give a fuck if you like what I have to say. At the end of the day, my job is to get you from point A to point B in the best way possible. So I don't give a fuck about all that individual shit or I've got the power to tell you to do this. I'm doing what I'm doing for you out of pure love and generosity, and I'm trying to get you from point A to point B, and that's my job and that's my goal. Everything else in the middle don't matter. So all this, oh well, don't give me the job without the title. Fuck you mean, nigga, you on job at all times. You a grown ass black man in America. Ain't no off days, ain't no clock outs. Do the job. And don't do it in the I'm trying to throw my weight around aspect. Do it in the I'm trying to nurture and raise a person to be a better version of themselves and a better version of myself, because all the imprinting that will happen from me being a part of this child's life is going to be demonstratively effective or ineffective in this child's life, depending on how I go through teaching and rearing this person. So my whole goal is to raise the best version of an adult and a good person in the world at the end of this job that I'm here for. Especially if I take up the role of dating a woman and she's got kids. Like, Jesus, it just sound like my nigga want control. You gonna respect me?
It's not his kids. He's heard, don't give me the duties without the title before, and it's just weird that he's now deploying it in the instance of him trying to force somebody to call him daddy. And my idea is like, unless you pleasuring a mom in a particular way and she gives you the consent and wants to call you daddy, I don't know in other instances in this relationship where other people should be calling you father, because it's crazy.
This man correlated calling strangers sir and man to him being called dad. Usually we'll say you're comparing apples and oranges, but at least those two things is fruit.
Conflation.
You trying to compare calling strangers sir and ma'am to calling you daddy, somebody that's not somebody that's his biological father, is comparing bicycles to apples. The only thing they got in common is both of them are rated. Parents coming into the fold. What I can acknowledge is that from a gender perspective, being a stepmom or being a stepdad, it's probably not the same thing. There are gender implications of being a mother that's not the same gender implications of being a father, and being a stepmother or father has different ways it's positioned, especially when we talking about how you orient yourself to the kids. You know what I mean? There is a lot of sensationalized outrage about kids, especially when it comes to protecting them from drag queens or from trans people. But I feel like we should be protecting kids uniquely from individuals like this, the ones that's sitting with their mamas, that's going on power trips. Those are usually the situations that end up kids being beaten and abused, because you incompetent, emotional being, has been put forth in some type of responsibility to look after a child. Now this child has not called you dad, or they breathe you too hard, they look at you the wrong way, now you want to beat them black and blue. But you don't have the same empathy and sympathy for this child as the father would or as the mother would, and that's the reason why you're ready to bear down on the way you is. Hey, something I appreciate about Russell Wilson and I appreciate about the stepfathers of the world that don't try to take the space of somebody else's dad is that play your position. You stay in your lane.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Staying in one's lane is something good. I think that from a stepfather conceptual standpoint, there is a little bit of patriarchy sprinkled up in the way in which people want to take order of somebody else's kids. Because why would you want to do that? Education is elevation. And if you...
I feel like it's not sticking for my brother wearing the yellow tank, but just more so a nuanced approach on the take order over somebody else's kids. I'm trying to create and manage my household. So it's not particularly am I trying to take control over somebody else's kids. I'm trying to fold you into whatever this fabric of whatever I'm trying to make for this current situation we're in and moving forward into the future that I could see for us all. So in trying to fold somebody else's children into the fabric of the family that you're creating now with their mother, that's a harder and longer process. And it is due to, but like not all things are built from the patriarchy, but this particular dynamic is built from the patriarchy. So men come into it with a lot of beliefs or feelings about things that I'm just like, bro, you're wasting your time. Like, you're utterly wasting your time. This is not necessary one bit. Like, you don't have to go that hard about it. And again, like what my brother was saying, play your role, bro. Like, that's it. Your role is to beat the bottom out of his mama every time y'all link up, having a good time, and then to raise them kids and to be a good example. Anything past that is extracurricular, and you doing extra work that's not in your role. Play your role and stay there. If somebody wants something else from you and wants to add to that role, allow them the space to feel comfortable enough to come put that on your table. That's your role. You trying to just force them to come to your table and have access to all roles, bro, that's not your job, and that's not who you are to these people, nor their fucking familial structure. And you got to respect these things. And it's hard when you get taught as a man that you're the head of your family, and this is how, once you become the head of your family, you get to make all the rules. It's like, yes and no. You don't make them just unilaterally all the time, and you don't make them with blatant disregard for the people you're making the rules over. Like, it's not good. It's an unhealthy dynamic.
You want to pick up a little supplemental reading that can further your consciousness and understanding on stepfathering or step-parents, and I got one from you by Jonathan Pettigrew. It's called I'll Take What I Can Get, Identity Development in the Case of a Stepfather, because we know research over...
I ain't even read none of this shit, and I already understand it. That's the game right there. I'll take what I can get. I'm getting some of this pussy off your mama, and if y'all want me to be your daddy, or to be a stepdaddy, or to be a role model to you, I'm happy to do so. But I'm just gonna be a good nigga the whole time I'm here, instead of fuck up out the way. That's the job.
For me searching, and a lot of people be allowing for their feelings to makeshift and illustrate how they post a parent. And the issue is a lot of y'all be insecure, so it impacts and influences the way your feelings manifest and, you know, the way they interpret it by other people. You this man, because you ain't my daddy. Mason Garrison, shout out to you for giving us some things to think about. I ain't trying to get you in trouble at all with you. Shout out to you, Stephanie, sis. I told my brother to be vulnerable in this video, and he did that for me. So, you know, no hard feelings at all. And when you see this video, be mad at me, don't be mad. Whoa.
All right, yeah, that's it for me. I don't know none of these people, so I don't give a fuck how a nigga feel. I said what I said, and I stand on it straight like that. Don't be a fucking weirdo. Love the people you love. Stay the fuck out the way. Play your role. Stay in your lane. That's it. Thank you for joining me. If you could, please hit that like, subscribe. Patreon's in the description if you want to support the channel directly. And I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here. Peace.